Let's revisit a statement I quoted 2 weeks ago in this study of the book of James. It was something my dad taught me when I was a boy, a lesson about the questions we should pose before sharing information, especially negative information or gossip about anyone. Dad said before speaking, we should always ask ourselves 3 questions. Is it true? Is it necessary? Is it kind? Hear the words of James from the 3rd chapter of his letter. The tongue is a little member, but boasts of great things. How great a forest is set ablaze by a small fire. The tongue is a fire. With it we bless the Lord, and we curse people who are made in the image of the Lord. Brothers and sisters, this ought not be so. As children, most of us learned an old proverb. Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. That proverb is very simply not true. Sticks and stones break bones, but words break spirits and hearts and self-esteem and create wounds that remain open long after the scars from sticks and stones have faded away. We read these stories way too often. Another came out not long ago about a young man on a major university campus who took his life. He was bright and artistic with what could have been a beautiful future in front of him. He left a note in which he said, "I cannot live any longer with the teasing and abuse and rejection that is a daily part of my life because of my sexuality. No one bothers to know me. They simply judge me and laugh at me and push me away." And then in the note, he wrote of praying and weeping and seeking some spiritual consolation or encouragement. So he went onto a religious website where he heard a minister say that people like him were, quote, perverted enemies of the will of God. So far as we know, the young man was never physically abused by anyone, no sticks or stones, but words of hatred and derision took all the life out of him, literally, until he decided to live no more. Years ago, for quite some time, a beautiful young woman attended a church I was serving as pastor. The longer she attended, the more noticeably thin she became. In time, she was diagnosed as being anorexic and eventually near death. She finally left our community and went across country to a hospital designed for persons with eating disorders. She never returned, but I understand the treatment center did save her life, thankfully. Though I don't know all the details of her history, she did share a little bit with me. When she was just a child, she was somewhat overweight, and her father nicknamed her Chubby. Perhaps he didn't intend it to be cruel, but it was. Both privately and in public, he would use that nickname and then laugh at her expense. He also occasionally would remind her that he had always been disappointed not to have a son, but rather to have, in his words, a chubby little girl who doesn't know a baseball from a meatball. No sticks or stones, but his words, his assessments of her, helped create an ongoing problem that in time literally threatened her life. The tongue is a fire, wrote James. With it we bless the Lord and curse people who are made in the image of the Lord. Brothers and sisters, this ought not be so. Think about these 2 questions. In what ways should we speak about people? Second, in what ways should we speak to people? I'll see you next week as we continue our study of the book of James.